Bricks and Minifigs is your one-stop shop for all things LEGO. Hit the link below to find a store near you. Hey everyone, Joshua Hanlon here, and today I'm at Bricks Cascade in Portland, Oregon, and we are bringing you an incredible collaborative layout based on the movie Coco here. This layout is massive, and there's so many different elements to this. I've got one of the builders who was involved here, so if you want to introduce yourself and then kind of start taking us through this whole thing.
All right, we start out here in the land of the living, where Miguel works at his family's shoe store over there. And we have a parade in the middle here, and various houses along the way. And we did a fair amount of kind of looking into what a lot of the houses would look like in Mexico. We have, there's a skull hot air balloon there.
Very unique.
There's a store there where they're selling models of spirit animals. And when we get to the far end, we'll see the real versions of them. We have a giant pepper here, church, strings of lights and old sort of lamp posts. A big part of the movie takes place in the cemetery, so that is right over here. And I will point out that this lady in red here constructed the cemetery and all of this part. And if you'd like to give us a word on that. So this is Leah.
Okay, perfect. So yeah, what can you tell us about this section here?
Well, this is the graveyard, and it's the Mausoleum de Ernesto de la Cruz. And we have a little scene from the movie here with Miguel falling into the grave when he realized that he was a spirit. We've tried to have lots of little Easter eggs in there like that. I think one of the things I'm most proud about in our build is that we tried to represent the people in the village with the appropriate colored heads, and so we had a member in our group who is a printer, and he was able to custom print faces for all of our minifigs, and we also had custom sugar skulls printed. Which I think really it's like those little details that really add to what we've done here, and even these tiles on the sides of the buildings, we had those custom printed as well, just to add another wonderful element.
Trying to make it as movie accurate as possible. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, so I made these two here, as well as that, and the little elements in the parade.
I love the tall legs.
It was so fun. And these are supposed to be like little moving ofrendas, which is what this is up here. That's an ofrenda, which is a common shrine that is put up at Dia de los Muertos to honor the spirits of your dead loved ones. So that's what we have here, and so many of us contributed to that as well. So
this detail on the front here is fantastic as well. I love how you've packed so much in there.
Yeah, I tried to make it as movie accurate as I could, but I mean, to be honest, I mean, I haven't really been building that long, and so I had to take it apart and rebuild it quite a few times.
That's okay.
And then, you have to find the right parts. You get on BrickLink, or you're digging just through your stash of different color bricks until you can find something that's just going to work just perfectly. And then when you get it together, you're just like, oh my God, you can't believe it, that you actually made it, So that's what I love about LEGO is the problem solving, and then just having your vision just suddenly come alive. It's exciting. Anyway,
excellent work. Thank you. Keep up the good work.
Thanks a lot.
So we'll keep moving on down the line then.
And the next part over, once you reach the cemetery, is the marigold bridge that allows the spirits of the dead to move from the city of the dead on the Day of the Dead over into the land of the living, the cemetery here. And this is one of the parts that I built, which is this marigold bridge right here, and the entryway into that. You may recognize it from the movie. I tried hard to make that one fit the movie. And And we tried hard to make it fit the spirit of the Day of the Dead as well. People have different pictures of family members who have passed away. I'll point out that the one there that says Ava and Ruth, that is my mother and my grandmother. And my mother actually lived in Mexico for some years, and my grandmother is the one who introduced my brother and I to Lego when we were very small years ago, before almost anyone in the United States had it. She lived in Sweden and shipped it over to us, all red and white cellulose acetate bricks. So that was a big part of this, because we wanted it to be kind of true to the spirit as well. And then once you get past the entryway here, we start to get into the City of the Dead. And the first tower here was built by the Honorable Leonard Marquez, who's right here.
I did want to come back to the bridge real quick before we move on, because this is just an amazing build, and seeing a bridge built with these elements, these flower elements in orange, is so unique and different. So how did that kind of come together for you? What were some of the challenges of that? And you've even got lights inside there too.
It is enormously fragile, as you may imagine. I mean, there's some structure inside of it, but it has to be a little bit hollow for the strings of lights. But yeah, I tried really hard to kind of capture the look of it to be a little bit ephemeral, you know, like it could just fade away into the night. And this one surely could if it shook too much.
Excellent work there. That's fantastic. And then I also love kind of the gate section here with the more lights in there, which just makes everything stand out. Throughout the whole layout here, the lighting is great.
Well, thank you. Yeah, and then we have, this is kind of the river that divides the, it's kind of a river Styx sort of affair that divides the land of the living from the city of the dead. And
well, we can keep moving on down then.
And let's turn it over to Leonard Marquez here.
Okay.
Hi, I'm one of the builders here with BayLUG. So once we cross the Marigold Bridge, we're into the City of the Dead. So we wanted to recreate the look of the movie, where you see these vast spires of buildings that rise up into the sky. And if you look at the movie, you'll see it sort of starts at the bottom with the older architecture. You see the Mayan pyramids, and then as the spires go up, you see different periods of architecture with the more modern stuff way at the top. And so we wanted to create the look, the vista of these sort of colorful, purplish, bluish look to it as you see in the movie. So the first spire I did, then our big spire here is the Ernesto's Palace that you see in the movie, and at the end, where they go up to the palace up there and meet the bad guy and battle the bad guy up there. A few things to point out here. Down here, we have sort of our street along the City of the Dead, very colorful. We have all the characters, and over here we see Miguel on the stage in the City of the Dead, there with his band there playing in front of the audience. The other thing I want to point out is we made use of these custom printed tiles, these sort of Spanish tiles, and one of our club members, Dan Keys, has his own print shop in the South Bay, and so he printed these up for them, for us, and these are really spectacular, all sort of custom designs and put on Lego tiles.
I love that. This is fantastic work here. Going back to these stacks of buildings, it looks a little precarious with all the buildings on the outside. So kind of structurally, what was that like putting that together?
Well, it's made of a central Technic spire, and then each of these little buildings, they come off. And you can take each building off, and sort of there are these platforms that spiral up. And then once the central spire's up with the platforms, you just sort of put the buildings on there.
And then for this large tower here,
let me turn it over to Adam. Let me turn it over to Adam. That's his tower, and he can tell you all about it.
I should actually say it's me and my wife Simone's tower, and we're a tag team. We're married. My wife, she's the architect. This white tower is really her creation, and I just helped with the grunt work. And then the next 3 rainbow towers with the floating trolley, that was my creation.
I helped with the grunt work on that one.
Yeah.
I mean, it's all extremely impressive. We'll start with the tower here then. So you've got this great sort of like brick bending effect here. So talk about kind of the design of that and how that works with Lego.
Yeah, we had tried doing a lighthouse the year prior and learned how to bend brick in that way using the little 1x1 round bricks within it. And we're like, let's try going a little bit bigger. So this is actually, it's built in 3 parts. The first part looks exactly like a wedding cake. It's just that bottom curved bit. It has a wonderful cross structure in the inside that gets smaller as you go up that helps really make it strong and protects it, especially when traveling. And then we have the centerpiece, which is the part that we hope and pray makes it to each convention. And then we have the top piece that we very carefully put on top when we get there.
So does the top section kind of sit on that gray plate then?
It does indeed.
Okay. Yeah, that's all very impressive. What is the central core like inside there that kind of keeps this all from falling apart?
Yep, so it's the cross bracing down at the very bottom, and that's just like a pyramid that kind of goes in as a cross. In the center piece, we have hinge pieces that go up in a big circle going up. And then I misspoke a little bit, sorry, the top piece is connected to that gray circle around it, and so that all just sits on that gray circle.
And then even just that top building there is also really detailed, and there's so much to take in. It gets a little lost because it's so high up there, but there's still a lot of details. So what are your favorite elements kind of in that section?
It was fun use of bricks in particular, which are those profile bricks that just look like real bricks. And then we got, just in time, we got some 1x1 cheese pieces that are a metallic gold. You can't see them well from down here, but they really make it shine.
So how did you decide on the scale of this whole tower here, kind of in relation to everything else? Was it always going to be this big, or did it just kind of grow as you went along?
We planned that it was going to be that big just based on the footprint that we wanted it to have inside of the city and what could fit within boxes to travel to conventions.
There you go. Well, thank you so much. Fantastic work.
So yeah, the next these 3 colorful buildings. I had seen work that Leonard and Eric had done. These other large buildings that are minifigure scale, and I was like, well, how can I get tons of color into this? Because in the movie, there's just these giant towers with all sorts of colorful buildings. So I was like, I took some inspiration from the Micropolis standard, where they use these headlight bricks reversed around as little windows, and just started creating all sorts of little micro colorful buildings in various colors to create these skyscrapers. And the whole purpose of creating the skyscrapers was to create this elevated, this hanging trolley that's spinning around, because that's in the movie too. There's this flying trolley, and that was quite the engineering challenge to create that to work. So I'm always watching it, just making sure it doesn't fall and destroy anybody else's mocks. So
how has that been running for you at the show so far?
It's been, I've been carefully watching it. Smile with a little bit of sweat running down my forehead. It's just carefully watching it, just hoping it doesn't derail. So far, we haven't had any catastrophic failures at this show, and in the past, it's only had 1 catastrophic failure. So we're doing good so far. Yeah.
What are the mechanics of that in terms of kind of how it's riding on the track there?
I should credit, there's a JK Brickworks video on a suspended trolley, and this uses a very similar mechanism where it's using a train wheel, like with the rubberized train wheel, and then a rubber band, and then there's a battery box and a motor that runs that, and it's running on the roller coaster track, just on the outer rail of the roller coaster track, and it just stays there because the center of mass is underneath that track. So it's fairly stable on there. It's just as long as it doesn't derail off of that roller coaster track and then fall. So yeah.
What were some of your favorite pieces that you used throughout here? There's so many different colors and elements that I'm sure were able to just kind of use in fun, creative ways.
Yeah, I love the headlight bricks that we use for the windows. I love let me pull it off. One of these, I love this piece here. It creates real nice curves on all these roofs, and then obviously Technic bricks are what make this actually work. So it's got a core with Lego and Duplo, but then Technic cross bracing going vertically. That's the only way this would work and keep my sanity and have this not like fall over completely. So yeah.
I love the contrast of the colorful buildings on the towers with all of these very gray pyramids.
Yeah.
So it really just makes it stand out all that more.
Yeah, and in the movie, the premise behind that is that the base of it is like more ancient Mayan temples, and then it's supposed to, as it goes up, become more futuristic and colorful, and so that was kind of the idea behind it. Also, those pyramids are a nice, solid, strong base, which is much greatly needed. So, yeah.
Very impressive. Thank you.
Yeah. In the back behind here, there are a bunch of alabrejas, which were not built by me. They were built by one of our other BayLUG members, Bill Ward, who's not here, I don't think. So, so they're kind of like spirit animals, exactly, right? So we're showing them in big scale, occupying that plaza. So
Had a lot of fun with the like dots elements throughout those.
Yes, when I saw them, I'm like, oh my goodness, those are awesome. So much color and very whimsical. Yes, lots of dots, lots of neat pieces in there. So yeah.
That's fantastic. And then coming back to Eric here, what can you tell us about these buildings out front?
Well, I'd also like to thank Adam and Simone for driving the truck that got all of this here.
Very important, yes. Often overlooked.
And these are some more City of the Dead, business places. I'm not sure what sort of business you have when you're dead, but you at least still need music, right? Mm-hmm. That's going to go on forever. And we have another, City of the Dead cafe again, more musicians. Exactly what else that they sell there, I didn't really think that out.
That's okay. It's very colorful.
Mm-hmm. It is. I love the work. These are 3 different builders built this section each here. This last tower, again, several other people pointed out that in the movie, their architecture was older on the bottom than newer and newer. So I designed the bottom piece there to be very similar to the Mayan governor's palace at Uxmal. So it's I recognizably like that. And on top of it, we have a piece of Spanish colonial architecture, which is often based upon Moorish influences in Spain. And then we have this spire that goes up in the middle of it, and I have the various houses that go up. And if you've ever been to the city of Merida in the Yucatan, it's this beautiful city of pastel buildings with black iron grill work, and that's my inspiration for that. And then up at the top, they're getting ready to build some more. Building that spire in the middle was a little bit tricky because if you look at it, you can see that I've snapped in Technic beams on the outside of it to keep it more stable. On the inside, I have columns of pieces with Technic axles rammed up and down, because this whole thing could just blow apart at any minute without that sort of structure. So
I mean, that's excellent work, and really just every tower and section of this build is so impressive here. So what was the collaborative process like in terms of kind of getting so many different builders involved in this? Did everyone just kind of build their own section and then bring it all together at the show?
Well, we did some people built their own sections, and we had certain things that we wanted and asked people to sign up for, but then we laid out plans for each individual show for this and kind of worked it together depending on what sort of space we had. And people built things that were beyond my imagining. When we started this several years ago, what I had in my mind then has been entirely exceeded by what people did. I'm just amazed at the creativity. I'm amazed at, how much fun it all was. This was really great.
How many people in total were involved in the end?
I believe we had represented here today 17 people. So, big or little, and all came together for it. So, and thank you all.
Very, very impressive that you all were able to come to the show here and display this. So will this collaborative layout continue on to the future? Will there be other just shows and places where you'll display?
We're going to show it off at least once more over the holiday season in San Jose. And after that, who knows?
Fantastic. Well, I'm glad we were able to see this here. Thank you for taking the time to chat with us. Appreciate it.